Welcome to another Autodesk Inventor tutorial. My name is Mr. Galindo. Thank you for joining me. Today we're going to be looking at a manufacturing tutorial. We're setting up our first computer-aided manufacturing systems. Now, to get into computer-aided manufacturing mode in Inventor, we simply go to CAM up the top in our ribbon, that tab there. And once we get to this spot, we're going to go to the job and we're going to create a setup. The setup is what allows us to define the material we're using to manufacture. It also allows us to define the work coordinate system, which is where our X, Y, and Z axes are and which direction they're moving in. So, to start with, what I like to do is make sure I've got a milling operation compared to a turning. We mill. The orientation for the work coordinate system, we need to use a select X and Y plane axes, and then the origin, we're going to use the model origin. Now the Z axis for our right hand machining, so this is this side of the vehicle, is going to be one of the small lines we've got drawn here. You can just faintly see them. This is the Z axis for our manufacturing. We're going to select that. And then for the Y axis, we're going to select the vertical line here. Now, for Y, when we're doing the right hand side, we actually need that to be pointing upwards. So we're going to flip the Y axis, and you can see that. The model is this selection here, because that's what we're going to be manufacturing, obviously. And our stock, you can see, just started to resize itself to the model then. It's more close to what we're actually going to be using, but it's not exact. We're then going to create a fixture specification, because that means that the program will automatically tell us whether or not our code clashes with the fixture. We wouldn't want to do this because that would mean that the drill bit that's spinning very, very fast would actually hit the metal fixture, which would damage it, and we'd have to replace the drill bit. I'm now going to select the stock tab in the setup, and I'm going to select a fixed size box. And I'm going to go to the width, which is the length of our stock along the X, and I'm going to specify this to be no longer than 210. Our actual stock here is 223, but we don't want it to be the full length, because the fixture on the end that doesn't have the canister hole grips like a crab claw on either side. And that takes up a bit of space, about 13 millimeters. So we don't want our fixture to be hit. So we decided to limit the size of our stock to 210. We're then going to make sure that's centered. The depth, that height here, is 50, and the height in the Z is actually 65. When you look from the rear of our vehicle, and you've got the right size for your stock, you should find that the edges line up, which they do automatically, but the bottom edge does not. Now, to fix this, what I would do is go to depth on the Y and select offset from backside and change the offset to 0. If you find that this is now touching at the top but not the bottom, what I would do is I would offset from the front side Y 0 instead. And you can see now that the stock is just touching the very bottom plane there of our vehicle, which is good because that means we have a nice clean edge to use. You can select the last tab here and select a program name. Now the program name, I tend to use numbers, but this is the right hand side. And the way I would make sure that that's kept as information is after I've selected OK here and I've got a setup folder. Within this, I'm going to click on it once and then twice with a bit of a gap, delete the number 1 and type right, because this is set up for the right hand side. Obviously it'd be helpful if I make caps lock key correctly. And there you go, that's our right setup sorted. Thank you for listening.